Okay, hello, welcome. I've kind of thrown Dan in the deep end because we had some technical issues, as you will always have when you're going live and so forth. We're here for our latest edition of Shapeshifters of Rathe. We're going to talk about calling Liverpool, correct? You can hear me, Dan? Yeah. Okay,
yeah, so.
cool. Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you perfect. Yeah. So calling Liverpool, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about supporting cosplayers. And also a few other things and some great announcements that we have that we're all fully behind and very excited about also. What that noise is. So yeah, we're really, really keen to chat about that, and hopefully some people come in and say hi or whatever and leave us messages. We'll see. Not used to going live with that kind of thing, but we'll see how we go. Getting pinged. Cool. So we'll start off with calling Liverpool, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that. So I've got some photos, so I'll just grab them. So anyway, so you attended Calling Liverpool. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did that was a bit different this time? You went in a different kind of time.
So in terms of so there's two things to talk about, like playing Fab and then cosplay stuff. So I'll start with playing Fab. So I've had no time to deck build. We'll probably come on to, I think, Burnout later. You wanted to talk about and just kind of like being like blah and for a while. My plan for calling Liverpool was the main event. The calling was limited, so sealed deck for the first day at least, and then I think drafts later in the day, and then day 2. And then there was lots of side events that were draft or sealed in different versions, like team sealed or shapeshifter sealed. They also had constructed side events, and then the battle hardened on the Sunday was CC. So I wasn't really had my head in gear to do serious testing and deck building of heavy hitters, so I didn't really know the meta. So my plan was to basically do a whole load of drafts and sealed because the schedule allowed that. But I did bring my Katsu deck with me for CC in case I decided to play the Battle Hardened. And when I arrived on the Friday, I did buy 3 Ancestral Harmonies in case I wanted to play the Katsu deck. Because that's pretty much so important right now for Ninja, that +1 to all your combo cards. So that was my plan, just do a load of sealed and draft. The actual calling itself didn't go very well. My deck turned out was rubbish. I should have played I had a choice between Olympia and Kasai. I went Kasai, and I think I should have gone Olympia because I had the rare helmet, the prize Galea, and a few other things that probably would have been better. But I didn't know the set that well at the time, so I wasn't too worried. So I dropped after 2 rounds. I also broke the flies on my jeans in like the first hour of the calling.
Oh no!
So I just after 2 rounds I dropped, and then I went and put on some new trousers, which was difficult because I only bought 2 pairs of trousers with me, so I was down to 1 pair of trousers.
Oh no!
And then just played sealed the rest of the weekend, sealed and draft. I really had a really good time. The thing I really like, I think, in my experience, I think LSS have really nailed getting a big event like that to work for lots of different types of players. So
Yeah.
if you're like the ultra competitive top tier player, there's loads, you've got callings, you've got Bell Hardens, you've got Pro Tours, you can win money, great. But if you're like a casual player who just wants to rock up with your mates and do a load of sealed and draft, you can do that and have a really good time. And if you're somewhere in the middle like me, you can do both. So I think in terms of event and trying to make it something for everybody, I think LSS have done a really good job in developing their larger events over the last couple of years.
Yeah. There's been so many more side events and so forth. I even found at Calling Queenstown there was plenty to do when I did drop from the calling, which was quite good, you know.
Yeah, and in the end, I didn't play the Battle Hardened because I didn't know the meta. One problem with Battle Hardened is it's very top heavy compared to other event types. Like you pretty much have to win to get anything worth having.
Yeah.
And being honest, I'm not going to win a Battle Hardened. So I just decided to spend an extra couple of hours in bed and do the side events on the Sunday. But I had a really good time. I managed to pull 5 legendaries in 24 hours.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, so that was nice. I bought a case from Issa, his judge case, and that had a couple of legendaries in, including the very necessary Scales of Justice, I think it's called, the new helmet that's like super clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Had a really good time. I organised. So should we talk about cosplay for a bit, or do you have anything else you want to say about events?
Let's talk a little bit about cosplay, yeah. So add some pictures. So
yeah, I really didn't know. Like, first of all, I didn't get a costume ready myself. I'm like partway through 2 projects, and it was quite obvious around about January I wasn't going to be ready in time, so that was okay. I decided not to enter Young Dromite again because I've done it like 3 times already. I'm done with that. I'm pissed off with long-haired wigs, and tying the Japanese belt is a real pain in the ass. So I've done that, been there, done that. So I thought I'd just rock up and enjoy it. I really didn't know how many competitors we'd have. Because I thought for a calling, people would come from Europe, and people did come from Europe. But with the UK, so Birmingham was quite a small field. There were 4 of us. So you got Jodie there looking great. So I
just realised we were hiding
up. 8 people. Yeah. So, and there was a really good mix. Like some costumes we've seen before, like Neve's Icelander and the Pulverize, and then the rest were all new. I think we hadn't seen them before.
No.
So my plan was just to enjoy it and support others. I made this T-shirt that I'm wearing, which you probably can read it, but it says, ask me for help with your cosplay. So in like the hour or 2 before the cosplay contest, I was backstage helping out everybody who needed help, and quite a few people did need help. So so in terms of the actual costume, I really like how a lot of people have a shtick. So I think the strongest shtick is Jodie with all of her crochet.
Oh, yes. I'll get back to her in a minute. Yeah, there we go.
Which is a really big part of her costume.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So she's been really imaginative with how she does that. So all those leaves were crochet. She made a little sword to crochet that. And she said she actually learned a new crochet technique in putting this together. I think she said it was like a Japanese style of crochet. And I was talking to her about whether she might enter it again in the future. And I think she wants to make a cape. Because I think at the moment she's got like this tunic dress thing. I think she was saying she'd like to make more leaves to make a cape out of, maybe.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. You can tell there's a lot of hours of work in that. Like,
I don't think there's such. I know, like some people, like Caroline, will say, "Oh, I'm just doing a quick cosplay and put it together in like 36 hours." But I think Caroline is very modest because she probably doesn't sleep much in that 36 hours.
No, probably not.
No.
I tried crocheting once. It was a failure, and I took all the wool and took it back to the shop.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I did a bit of knitting when I was a kid. My grandma taught me how to knit. So this is
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Pardon?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
No.
I really like this. I'm sure that looked way better in person, but I like this photo because it really captured the way she had the movement.
Yeah,
If you get a chance to check it out, is it cardboard swords? Cardboard
not
swords?
sure. So I really like this
A full
particular
video of
picture.
it.
I
Yeah.
really like this particular picture as well because that really looks like flame.
Mm,
So
mm.
this is Young Kano by Alexandra. And what she had, you can't see it in this picture that well, but she had made a dragon head out of some kind of plasticky stuff. Maybe it was like foam clay. Yeah, so she had a dragon head that lit up. I think it lit up as well, you can see.
Yeah.
And that had this streamer of
Oh, here
fabric,
we are.
kind of orange and yellow. There you go, that's a better picture. And she had this streamer of fabric, and then she had it all like on a string.
Yeah.
So and she was able to do tricks with it, like like poi,
Yeah.
the poi things that people do in juggling and fire breathing. So it was a
Yeah.
bit like a poi, and she was able
Oh,
to do all kinds of swirls and things. But the picture you had up before with Issa in it really shows the movement, and I think actually it really looks like fire. That looks really fiery.
yeah. It's such a great picture, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's good to see people incorporating different aspects into their costumes. So as you said, this has a real sense of movement.
Yeah.
And I did something similar with my young Dromai, where I had the ribbon, the grey ribbon with glitter on it to be like her ash magic. So
Mm.
we're really able to see how different cosplayers are bringing different elements of the style and the art into their work, which I think is great.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be lights, bells, and whistles either. It may seem simple, but it is very well carried out.
Exactly. I love this picture as well. So Issa, because he was judging on Saturday, didn't
Yeah.
enter the actual cosplay competition, but he had made this costume of young Victor.
Yeah.
And I'll explain this picture a bit. So the other guy in the picture, I don't know their name, but he was wearing this really spangly sequin jacket the whole weekend.
Was he one of the casters, or
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I think he was just a regular player,
yeah,
but he was wearing this really, really spangly jacket. And
yeah,
this is a great picture. I didn't even know this picture happened until Issa posted it.
yeah,
Because Victor is like the golden sun, loads of gold, all his abilities are around gold, and this is like a golden spangly jacket. So it's a
yeah?
really good pick.
It's a cool picture. I need to get. I like this picture too. Um,
Yeah,
the pics, being able to like seeing the back, because like you don't always see the back of cosplays. There's
that's true.
so much detail in that as well. Oops, what have I
Yeah,
got?
this costume has like a lot of beads, a lot of sequiny things. Like there's a lot of little details sewn onto it.
Mm,
Um, and she's actually got like these little ribbon ties. Is it like a tie at the back? There's like these little ribbon ties just down the bottom. So
yeah.
that where her hair is there, and then if you go down, you can see
Oh,
that
there we
there's
go.
some coming down. So
Yeah,
there, these. I think she's got like some ties or streamers or something.
yeah. That's quite cool.
Yeah. So this was like a really detailed costume. I think she got top 4 for it in oh god, whatever the big event was before this in Europe. I've gone blank. So, so if you entered this costume before in, I think it was at Utrecht. I might be wrong. I'm kind of lost the plot because it's early here.
That's
Um, but
right.
so the costume was very similar to how she entered it before, which is fine. Because I think we've
Yeah,
agreed as a community that the interpretation of the LSS rules about re-entering a costume that's won is only if you've won a tailor. I think is the current
yeah,
interpretation we're going with,
yeah.
which is good because gives people a chance to adapt their costume to build on it. Like I don't think
Mm,
costumes should have to be a one and done.
yeah.
Like so, like you put like months into some of these costumes, and it
So
was
this
like,
is
well, I placed fourth, and now I can't wear it again.
mm, it's like, hey, Henrik with his brand new helmet. How he improved his helmet for this event.
Yeah, exactly. And I was listening to your video with him in the cosplayer of the month.
Yeah.
I in a small way adapted my spring tunic costume based on feedback. I didn't do it as much as Henrik did to redesign his helmet, but it's
Yeah.
nice that we can tweak, redesign, and re-enter. So I think it's fair currently, like about the interpretation that you can only not enter if you've won a tailor. I think
Yeah.
Rachel was after some reclarification on a few points last time we were talking about it about a month or two ago, but at the moment I think things seem to have settled down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
so
lovely photos.
yeah, and you can really see the dragon head really well with the lit up eyes that Alexandra has on her Kano. Yeah, that was really good. I really want to know how she made that. Like, maybe it was 3D printed or was it molded? I don't know. It's really good.
I can't remember. I think she did talk about it a little bit in our Discord. Um,
Yeah, and then the other thing I have to talk about with Alexandra's costume is her Eye of Ophidia. It was
yeah.
beautiful.
So that was
So
the file, wasn't it? That one of our
yeah,
other
it was 3D
shared.
printed from another community member's file. But
Yeah.
then the paint job she did on the iris was amazing. Like you can't
Yeah.
really see it here, but it looked just like the card. The paint job of all the little kind of details of the iris were absolutely
No, you
amazing.
can't go into that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I organised a cosplay dinner on the Saturday night, and she wore it just as a piece of jewellery. You know, it makes a nice piece of jewellery in itself.
And then there's this lovely kid who wanted to be part of it. And it's actually the best photo of all the cosplayers, to be honest.
Yeah, so that little kid was so cute. Like, I think it's great if we have kids coming to these, because it really gives like kids are just more emotive and more excitable, and it really gives the cosplayers something to work with in their performance. I think at the big event, I keep on forgetting where it was. It wasn't Utrecht. That was a little while ago. There was something after that. It was Worlds. Leo, where was Worlds?
Worlds
Was it?
was Madrid. Madrid?
Yeah, I think no, Barcelona.
Barcelona. Barcelona.
Yeah, there we go. I've got it. So in Barcelona, I think we had James White's daughters there, and they
Yeah.
got very excited. At Birmingham, there was a little girl. So I think like the kids getting excited and stuff is really nice to see, but also gives the cosplayers something to interact with that's going to interact back. So, like in this, let's talk about the costumes we haven't talked about yet. So we got Matthew Folks as a young Olympia.
Yeah.
Um, so
Also,
yeah, so the costume's really nice. Obviously, he's like a bit of a built guy, so it plays into his body type.
yeah.
The wig is perfect for that hair. And the wig is really well put on. So the leathery bits on like the skirty thing and the ankle guards were made because I helped like tie this all up because there was lots of buckles and things. So I helped kind of put it together, and it's
Yeah.
kind of made out of this kind of plasticky leather. It was very thin. It was like a leatherette, but very thin.
Yeah.
And then the sword. Can you go up to the sword? Because I think I can't remember what the hot striker is it called. I can't remember what the
Hot
flaming
streak.
sword in the set. Hot streak. So they
Yeah.
had like a toy sword. I think they bought the toy sword, but then painted it and modelled over the top of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there's this really nice fire design on the paint, but then they had these little light up lights on it as well.
Now I've gone to the next one. Whoops.
No.
Gone to the winner.
Hmm. But let's just quickly talk about. Have you got? Yeah. Well, let's talk about Yoji since he's up next. This was an amazing costume. I was thinking about what to say about this costume this morning.
It
There's
looks
so
so
much
amazing on photos. So it must have
yeah,
been.
there's so much going on with this costume in terms of detail and components. It really
Amazing.
reminds me of do you remember the awesome Guinness cosplay we had about a year and a half ago?
Genius. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it really reminds me of this because there's so many parts to this costume. You've got the nice grey fabric shirt that's underneath everything. You've got the chainmail. You've got the chest guard thing, the golden thing on his chest. You've got the shield. You've got the giant pole arm. You've got the boots. There's just so much going on with it, and it was all so well done and really high quality.
Oh, there we go.
Um,
The front on of that.
yeah, so you got like the protector shield there,
That's amazing.
seasoned guardian or whatever it's called, and
Mm.
then this amazing pole arm, which was huge.
Yeah, well, I mean, S is not a huge person, but yeah.
Yeah, but like Dean's about 5'10", so this pole arm's about 8 foot long.
Wow, that's quite.
It was really good.
Did he have to assemble it being in pieces, perhaps?
I think it came apart. I can't remember. I did ask them about how they transported it. I think a lot of people who make polearm weapons do make them detachable. So I know Henrik's hammer comes apart into a couple of pieces. I would imagine this comes apart with magnets or something. Otherwise, you just couldn't. You couldn't
I
do
think.
anything. Like, because so this is Dean and Maddie are the name of the cosplayers.
Yeah.
And they are UK based, so they could have put it in a car, but something that long would be hard to fit in a car, even if it was one piece. So it must come into a couple of piece parts.
At least, yeah. I mean, when you look at it, oops, now we're going to the next one apparently. When you look at it, it's you could theoretically do a join through there, but
Yeah, and like there's just so much detail. And I was talking to them before the contest when Dean was all dressed up. And I think they spent about 2 or 3 months working most days till about midnight, they said.
yeah,
So this was like a real labor of love costume. It was just like, yeah, I was really happy it won. I was really worried for some reason it might not win. um, and Dean just looked so relieved and happy when they announced that they had won. It was a
well,
real kind of release moment. You know when someone just goes, ah,
yay, all that
yeah,
work paid off.
yeah, exactly. So that was amazing. And then we've got Shyla as Ravenous Rabble, the artwork for the promo we had for the event.
The new promo, yeah.
Yeah, so we
It
had the
looks
vampiric
amazing.
art promo, and Shayla went as that. And
I
so
don't
let's
have it
talk
on here.
about it a bit. So she made the dress herself. I was talking to her a bit about this. Because you're just not, a lot of the time with cosplay, sometimes you can find a dress or something to be the base of the costume.
Yeah,
So I did that with Spring Tunic. I did it with Dromai, that I basically had a base that I bought.
yeah.
But a lot of the time with fantasy, it's just like random designs, right? That are normally quite intricate, sometimes don't like the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Um, and so a lot of it you have to make from scratch. So this is like a backless, low front with a single shoulder strap. So
Mm.
you're not going to find a dress like that. So she made the dress from scratch. The helmet was molded, and some of the spikes come off to
Oh,
make it
nice.
transportable.
Yeah.
And then the dagger was a 3D printed and painted dagger.
Mm.
I think she said she had to declare it because it counted as a weapon.
Ow.
I think because of how it looked, like it's got quite a point on it, but I don't think you really hurt anyone with it. But it
Yeah.
was, I think she said she had to declare it or something because it could have been mistaken for a weapon.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's really great with this cosplay is that she had a plastic squidgy heart. So I don't
Mm.
think it's in this picture. So she had like a human heart squidgy.
Where was it? Oh, you can see it. Okay, you can't see her,
Yeah,
but you can
yeah,
see the heart.
yeah. So she had this like anatomically correct squidgy human heart, and she
Mm.
put fake blood in it and was able to squeeze the fake blood out of it.
Oh wow. Let's see if there's another picture with her. There we are. That's
Yeah,
better.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when they were doing the introductions, Shayla wrote about this that one of the things she liked about this design and the costume and the art is that it's very, what was the word? It was brutal without being barbaric.
Yeah.
Like it's a very bloody, kind of grisly, quite monstrous thing that's happening in the art, but it's not like brute style where it's like, "Roar!" It's like these like three or four very kind of calm, refined, vampiric ladies. So it's a very different type of brutality.
Mm, mm.
Um, yeah, so I was really glad she placed top four with this. It was a really nice costume. And then the thing that's hard with the cosplay contest, I'd like to see get a bit better is you don't the different events we have around the world differ.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're doing a catwalk. We did a catwalk in this event. I think where you did your costume, there was a catwalk.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a stage that may or may not have steps.
Yeah.
And these might seem small to people, but it's really hard for a cosplayer to design the costume, but also design the performance, not knowing what you're going to get. You basically find out a few seconds beforehand whether you're on a stage, whether you're on a catwalk, and that's for the performance bit. That's a really big deal. And also, you don't know how much time, whether you're going to get any verbal time. So I
Yeah.
think like in Barcelona, everyone had like Flake was doing the presenting. He'd talk to you
Yeah.
about your costume, and then you'd have some time to do the performance. Whereas in the events we've had in the UK, and this is not a slander of the organisers, a guy is emceeing over the top of the whole performance.
Yeah.
So if
It's the
you had
same.
planned, yeah, so if you had planned your performance to have a major verbal component, that would be quite difficult. But I'm pretty sure that if you talk to the MC beforehand and he said, look, a big part of this costume is music or like singing or talking or shouting. I'm sure if you talk to them beforehand, because whoever the presenter is, they always talk to everybody to make sure they got things right.
Oh yeah.
If
Yeah.
you said, look, I need a minute of free air that I can use for my performance, I'm sure they'd accommodate that. But I would
Mhm.
like to see these things a bit more standardized and a bit more, or even if just letting the competitors know what they're going to have to do.
Beforehand. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
all know. Well, it's with Queenstown, we all knew we had to do a performance. But I was all prepared for a static, so when it was changed to a moving one half an hour before, I had to do a bit of like rejig. And I'm sure everybody saw that we had also the great Deck's great performance, and he kind of got a lot of airtime because he did the moving bit and then he had the thing at the count at the end. So it was but he contacted the organizers to ask what he was allowed to do because of what he was doing was so intensive. Um
Mm,
but I mean we don't all have to do huge performances. So
mm,
it's just knowing what to expect. As you say, if there's stairs, it would be nice to know when we enter, oh, look, this is where we're planning to do it. We're going to have stairs or it's going to be flat. As you said, it may seem not important to everyday people, but it's important to us when we're trying to plan these things. Or to even like so that we have a guide to take us up the stairs, you know?
yeah, exactly. And so I think like this was a flat. It was just on the
Yeah.
floor of the thing, but we had like Barcelona had significant steps, and we had a couple of competitors there with big wings, and you had to
Mm.
kind of go through a curtain to get on the
Mm.
stage.
Uh,
So and so so we had like Alexandra as Victoria with her mechanical wings, and we had Carolina doing sleigh at that event, and they had to like turn sideways and walk sideways up the stairs, and so it's just difficult. So I think so I think it would be nice to see these things a bit more standardized, or just like letting people know maybe the day before or just on the day what the format's going to be, because it might change certain approaches to what you want to do.
yeah, yeah, and it gives you some time to work out what you would like to be doing because it can be hard. I mean, it's you've done all this work and you want to present your work at its best, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, my understanding is that the things we're marked on, so like quality, accuracy, and performance, I think they're all equally weighted. So if your performance
Yeah.
bombs because you weren't expecting an XYZ, then that can mean a big difference in your costume placement.
I think because I spoke to the judges because we had that really huge performance at Queenstown,
Yeah,
and my one was harder to perform, and also some of the others, like the lovely Japanese girl who did the dromai, beautiful job, but we were more reserved than
yeah,
perhaps the other performances, but it was to our characters. They
yeah.
said, but the performance is a lower part than how you make it.
Okay, yeah.
So we don't have to weigh so much on the performance. We just want to, it's just to let people know that the performance is a smaller percentage, but it still counts. But
Okay,
it's
I didn't know that.
construction. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. The other thing I'll say while we're talking about things, as I think it would be nice if all cosplay panels had a physical creator on them.
Yeah.
So in the UK, we have had panels where, no discredit to them, we had Push the Point do the cosplay in both Birmingham and in Liverpool.
Yeah.
But they're virtual creators. It'd be nice. I think all cosplay panels should have either a cosplayer or a designer or someone who can appreciate the physical
The aspects
difficulty
of
in the
building.
character.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I think one of the Push the Point guys has a partner or a family member fully in the arts and doing performance
yeah,
wise. So
yeah,
um, I haven't watched much lately, but I can't differentiate because I kind of listen to them while I'm doing stuff. So,
yeah,
it's good. They seem to, yeah. I think they are actually good MCs.
yes.
But as you say, it'd be nice to have someone to support them that knows cosplaying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, someone who could look at it and go, okay, this is like pretty but not a lot of work, versus this is maybe looks normal but actually is a lot of work. And that can be
yeah.
the difference.
Yeah, for example, the spring tunic that was done at Worlds,
Oh, that was so
that
good.
was that apparent because I talked to Rachel about that when we were in Queenstown. She says, yeah, the amount of work and the fabrics used, she knew that there was that much work done. Being a cosplayer herself, being able to judge, so she could judge. That's why that made the top four.
Yeah,
It's the outside world. They're like, why didn't this make it? Why didn't that make it? It's
yeah,
when you, as you been to see people cosplay and stuff, you see a lot more things when you're physically there as well.
yeah, yeah. And so that would be good. So I think those sorts of things we talked about to standardize both what you can expect and just to make sure the judging is high quality as well. So that'd be like what I'd like to see in the next year, I think.
And we're getting enough people that have cosplayed at high standards. We've got Essa, we've got yourself. I mean, you've done the journey as well.
Yeah,
Um, and there is people in different areas, so they can't say, "Oh, well, we can't afford to get Carolina or Rachel over," because we've got cosplayers
no,
in all these areas that have produced a high standard that
yeah,
would quite probably, as hard as it is to judge our peers, help out
yeah.
with, and all I need to do is ask.
Yeah, and in the UK also, we've got like other people like Miss Chalice. I haven't seen her do something recently, but she's around. She knows her
Um,
cosplay.
yeah, I think Miss Chalice is very hard into another video game which she's doing a lot of streaming with. So she's kind of stepped
Okay.
back from her. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, as you said, people are available.
Mm,
Some people might just do it for free or just like for a promo or something. Like it doesn't have to be an expensive gig.
yeah.
Um, they probably want something, but I think people will be quite flexible with what that something is.
Well, we already have like a format for paying for judges, and
Yeah.
it's technically a kind of a judge thing. So, I mean, is I'll use Essa as an example because he's using this being paid to judge as a way to travel as well.
Mm.
There's no reason why saying he couldn't do half a day of judging as well as his normal judging for
Yeah.
cosplay.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's an interesting question, isn't it? Like, could what? Because I think most of the time the judges have been in other roles already. So we've
yeah,
had Pixel Point who are doing the general commentating on stream, so they're there anyway. They've got a big, substantial other role, right? So, and I think other judges have been people who are judging or have been there already. I don't think there's been many people who've come just to judge the cosplay. I
yeah,
could be wrong on that, but it's an interesting point that if so you have brought someone in because they know their cosplay and blah blah blah. You want to make sure each panel has someone who knows the physical arts, let's say.
yeah, yeah,
Um, you could just give them the judge pack. Would that because you're spending less time than the floor and team judges, but it's quite intensive. I think it's probably more intensive than being a floor judge. So you
yeah,
could potentially give them one of the judge packs if you have brought someone in.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a solution to in that kind of sense, a solution that may work. Um, Hopefully they hear us and go, "Oh, well, that's a good idea."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it is good. I don't think it's caused big problems, but
Mm,
I think it has made the difference with some of the placings, just that appreciation.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and I'm so glad the Yoji won. So Maddie and Dean, that was a big step up for them. Like
Yeah.
before they did Lord Sutcliffe's head at Birmingham.
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
remember that one.
it's the same people. And
Ah,
so if you think about that costume and the Yoji, that's a
God,
huge step.
huge
It's a
step, a
huge
lot
step.
more challenging.
I'm really happy for them, and I can't wait to see what they produce next.
Yeah. So we kind of touched on the whole being a cosplay support person. How did you find the experience different to physically cosplaying yourself, being the person that can help people or safety pin
Yeah,
or whatever? How did you find the experience? How did it differ?
much less stressful. That probably doesn't surprise you.
Yeah, yeah,
I what happened was so I didn't get a costume ready for Liverpool, but I wanted to do something. So as I said, I think in advance I let people know that I'd be around to help out.
yeah,
And I gave a couple of people who said yes, I'd really like your help. I gave them my number in case I was in the middle of something.
yeah,
And we did a few things. So I helped Henrik quite a lot put his costume together. There was a few bits missing, so we improvised a few extra straps. Helped
yeah,
Olympia and Neve and Matt, and helped Shayla a bit. And part of it's also emotional support.
mm,
Occasionally things go wrong, or someone can't find something. And often, if you're like halfway through putting on your cosplay, you can't just sometimes you're stuck. Like depending what it is, you
mm-hmm.
can't do a lot. So it was good. It was good, I think, to have someone who could run around the room and
Yeah,
find things or hold something. So I found it really good fun, and I felt like I was really glad that I could contribute towards it without actually being a competitor myself.
yeah, yeah,
So I made this T-shirt, as I said. So it's just a custom-made T-shirt of the internet. It says, "Ask me for help with your cosplay." Then on the back, it says my catch name, my nickname, Fiendan, and
yeah,
cosplay crew. And I really love it if other people wanted to basically make a similar T-shirt themselves and just like put whatever message they want on the front, put cosplay crew, and then whatever
yeah,
nickname they want. I think if we could make that a thing, that'd be really great.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I made some shirts. Rachel's got
Oh
one of
yeah,
these. Hopefully, she's going to wear it at LA. Um,
great.
yeah, and hers has got Max Ferocity on the back, and mine's got obviously Fabled Hero NZ.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really cool that you were a support person because I don't think anybody on the outside sees that we need these support people. I mean, Rachel's got her partner and people that help her with her being there for her. All of us have our support people, and it's great to appreciate them because they're very important. Um, they get us through like the panic attacks because we need glue because something's come undone or things like that. And it's a very it's an aspect that people don't see on the outside, that we need these people that are very important to us. So I'm very pleased and very appreciative that you decided that this would be your role at this event, because I feel that you've helped a lot of people and I'm sure they appreciated the help.
Yeah, and even if it's just emotional support, if someone's upset or just really scared or stressed or excited, so I think the thing that has got a lot better, at least in the events I've been at, have been these days, most of the time, we've managed to negotiate a room for the cosplayers,
Yeah.
like a backstage room. It's normally been the same room the judges have been using because the judges have like a rest room,
Mm.
and it varies a bit. Sometimes we do or don't have a mirror in the room. I think if we could always have a mirror, that'd be great. But if the room doesn't have a mirror built into it, it's a bit hard for someone to just bring a full length mirror.
Yeah, yeah,
But people go to the toilets if there's no mirror. That's good enough, I think. But I think just having the space where, because some people like me wear the costume all day, so I factor that into the design. A lot of
mm,
people don't. Most people don't. Some people wear it part of the day, or they just get ready an hour or two beforehand. So having
yeah,
that kind of green room where you can like have all your stuff, you can do all your thing, get ready, and just even if it's just like all my stuff is safe. I'm
yeah,
going to go and do the events for the next 4 hours, and then in 4 hours' time, I need to get ready for the cosplay. But all my stuff is safe, it's out
yeah,
the way, and I can get dressed later.
yeah.
So I think that's something that has got a lot better. I don't know if the events you've been at, have you had a similar kind of green room?
So for yeah, the only one I had the green room was the one that was actually physically, the Calling Auckland, that was actually physically in a theatre, and we were absolutely spoiled because we the makeup room that the actors would use. Um, so very spoilt there. When I went to Melbourne, I kind of wore my costume all day, and I know Carolina had to use the bathrooms to get changed. Um, I I have a habit of befriending people that have stalls so I can keep my stuff at stalls.
Yeah.
So I've been very lucky in that sense. And for Queenstown, there wasn't a area to get changed. There were changing rooms there because it was like a place where it was a gym there, but we
Mm.
didn't have access to them. So I had a lovely friend, Gene. He is the OG Genus. He had a stall there, and he let me keep all my stuff there, which was really handy. And so I had to, because I had my tunic with my tailor, I had to hurriedly get Claire, which is James's mum, into the tunic over the top of her clothes at, in the stall and where he had it, and it was fully open stall. There was no closed-in area, so
Yeah.
but we made it work.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing. The other thing that'd be good to always have is a green room. I think the
Mm,
judges always have a rest area. So if we can negotiate to just always use the same room, or
yeah,
if there's a more suitable room, but I
yeah,
think the judges' rest room is good enough. Like
mm,
if you desperately need a mirror, most people are able to go to the bathroom to do
yeah.
that. The room we had in Liverpool had a mirror in it on the wall, so that was great, even better.
Oh,
I think where
nice.
it has happened, I think we've had to ask for it. So I think maybe like a few people in the community could take it on themselves to be the negotiators. I think Henrik maybe made it happen this time around. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know
yeah,
who to talk to, but I think some people do. But I think if that's the other thing we can try and guarantee for the cosplayers at bigger events, that would be a really good thing.
yeah. It'd be really great because I mean we can be and also being in cosplay is like being on all day.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like the judges. We possibly do need that space to just have 5 minutes if we
yeah,
decide to cosplay all day.
yeah.
Um, so that is also a thing that could be quite helpful. And that's a way that they can support us further. I mean, LSS is already supporting us through the roof with promos and mats and cards and it's more than I ever imagined, and unfortunately, the market's fallen out of mats in my country, so I have a ton of mats, but that's okay. I'll use them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really good. I've not been involved in other cosplay communities, so I don't know
Mm.
what like I know there's cosplay competitions for like anime and stuff, but I don't know what the remuneration's like. But I really like. I think, yeah, as I said, I think Ellis has done a really good job, so, like in terms of remuneration for events, in terms of the prize support. It's really
Yeah,
good. Some of the top prizes you can sell for a chunk of money, and people do. Some people, I
yeah,
said to Dean and Maddie, "You're going to sell your Taylor. You're going to keep it." Their plan was to grade it and keep it. I
mm,
think because I think if I ever win another one, which may not happen, but you never know. I've
yeah.
decided to grade it
Work
and keep it. Yeah, I decided to grade it and keep it if I get another one because
Yeah,
I'd really like to play her in UPF, particularly
yeah,
now you have the needle offhand and you've got
yeah,
the two fabrics. And I don't think the fabrics are legendary, so you can have three in your deck of each.
yeah,
So I really want to like play UPF with Taylor with now that we've got a weapon and we've got some specific cards.
yeah, yeah, and it's quite nice. I mean, Rachel has played it in UPF and done well, so that's a great thing. Excuse me. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of the challenges of mine. So
Yeah.
um, I had, I'm finally ready to talk about it. I had a bit of a meltdown
Oh, I'm
for
sorry.
Queenstown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think I could make anything worthy because I knew immediately that Rachel um, and that they would be there, and I felt like I wouldn't be able to make anything good enough, and I just hit the wall. Went in. I was going to make this Kasai. No. I was going to make a cosplay for my friend. No, I just didn't do anything new
Yeah.
because I felt imposter syndrome. I felt like I couldn't do good enough, and I am very pleased that I was able to go. I don't know what to do into our Discord, and everyone was very supportive. And I just touched up a couple of costumes I already had and took them,
Yeah.
and took Azalea and my Taylor costume. Um, I think I should have entered Azalea and not Taylor, but that's after the fact thinking. I think Azalea is a way more fun character to act out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
would have been
You got a lot
more
of stuff you
present
can
on the
do.
catwalk.
Yeah.
Um, but this is just looking back. I just wanted to do something that I at least felt comfortable in. I did feel a lot better talking to Jean because Jean also has done the Genius cosplay.
Mm,
He was planning to do it, but didn't realize he had to enter in advance. And I was like, "You should have talked to me. I would have helped you with that." Because when we did the Auckland one, he entered on the day. Because
uh,
we all entered on the day because there wasn't any pre-registration before
okay.
that. Kind of, I wrote a letter and helped to thing that. So it was good because I had Jean and I had James's mum. And after spending the day with both of them, I felt miles better.
Mm,
But I still don't think I would have been comfortable taking something new because I just felt. Oh, when Dex was coming, I was like, "What the hell's Dex doing?" He had all these big plans. I was like, I was so intimidated that I just couldn't do it. And I know that sounds odd because I've been doing this for a long time, but
mm,
those feelings can creep up.
yeah.
Uh, and so that's me coming clean. That can happen. You can hit a wall, but that's all right. You can step back and pick yourself up and keep going. Um, and it's hard. I know that
Yeah.
you had some hit the wall moments yourself, but probably not as intense. But we all
Yeah.
have those.
So I've had a few different challenges. But I think I'll talk about points you've raised first. So we've got like lots of people with different levels of skill and experience in the community. People use different techniques. And I think one thing I like for myself is to try and learn something with every costume in terms of techniques. But it can be intimidating because, the community is incredibly supportive. And I
Yeah.
don't think anyone would look down on anyone in reality. If someone had like a very simple costume or, you know, but for the individuals, it can be a bit intimidating because these days you probably know at least one person's going to rock up with something with like EVA foam armor that's been spray painted and molded and comes in 5 parts and blah 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 blah. All this stuff, and you'd be like, "Oh God, I've just sewn this thing,"
Yeah.
and like it can be different. It's easy to feel intimidated. I think the reality of it is that I don't think anyone is judging anyone, at least not within the community.
Yeah.
I did hear a story that made me very sad, where someone said they did a cosplay before the cosplay events, I think, were a thing, the contests,
Yeah.
and they didn't get a good reception from the playing community.
Oh, that's
And I think that was really sad. I've definitely felt scared when I first did my spring tuning for the first time at the, I think, that second or first UK Nats,
yeah.
because that was before we had the contest. It was gender swap. I'd never done it before. Didn't know how people would react. And I really enjoyed putting it together. And then when it was finished, I was like, great, it's finished. And then I just had panic.
Mm.
Like, I almost didn't do it. I was really glad I did. And everyone reacted really well. I think you always get a few side eye looks for some people. Like, there's always going to be some people who just give you like that kind of look.
Yeah.
But who cares about them? They're in the minority. They can go and be miserable in the corner. So, but yeah, it can be difficult. I think like the thing that combats that, I think if you're on the Discord, we all support each other really well there. We can talk about lots of different things. We've got lots of different channels of chat. You can get help on your techniques. You can get help on ideas and problems. So I really like the actual community. That even though we do in reality have thousands of pounds and dollars of prizes on the line, I
Yeah.
think everyone wants to do well, but I think no one wants someone to fail,
Yeah.
right? No one wants someone to fall over and break their costume 5 minutes beforehand, or
Yeah.
um, because that's the community we've got, and that's really great. And I think the player community generally is really good as well, both in terms of the playing, but
Mm.
also accepting of the cosplayers. I think that's been pretty good generally. We've had gender swaps both ways: men doing women, women doing men,
Mm.
things in between, all different types of performances over the last couple of years. So, but yeah, it is easy, in your mind, these things aren't always logical in reality. So the
Exactly.
challenges I've had, I mentioned I didn't get a costume ready. I was hoping to get ready. I've got one costume that's just on the back burner, probably permanently. And because I've got chronic fatigue that's been getting worse over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And more recently, as in like the last 6 months, after work, I'm just dead.
Mm.
So I haven't got the energy. So I'm finding for me that I don't have that many days where I have the time and the energy and the motivation at the same time to do something.
Mm.
So I got really worried about entering Liverpool, and then I decided I didn't want to do Dromai again. Spring Tunic's kind of broken. Parts of it were cardboard, and I didn't want to do
Mm.
that. I couldn't do that actually because it won a tailor, right? But I could work. But I could do what Jodie did in Barcelona and just wear it out and about during the day. But I
Mm.
actually just really wanted an event where I was being normal. Like I didn't have a wig. The long hair wig is a real faff. Parts of the
Mm.
costume I really love, but they're a real faff.
Mm.
So for me, it's just the days, the amount of time I have available and energy I have available to put into the hobby is quite limited at times now. So
Mm.
what I'm hoping for now is I might go to Warsaw, I might not. That's in May. I'm definitely going to Amsterdam, which I think is the first weekend of August. So
Yeah.
that's like 5 months away. So I'm hoping to get my next costume ready for that, and I can just do it slowly, slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, there's a big dream. I would love to come to Europe and see all of you, but it's just unfortunately not in my grasp of financialness to get there. Because the community over in England and Europe has grown so much in the last year, and you guys are you're close to each other and organising
Yeah.
dinners and
Yeah, the cosplay dinners are really great. I'm going to try and make one happen every event I'm at, and I'd love to see events that we have around the world do something similar.
Yeah,
It just really gives you like a nice let your hair down kind of, because I think lots of us are friends now as well, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and actually, in some ways, I'm closer to the cosplay community than I am with the player community.
yeah, yeah. So we've got some upcoming events, and there was some absolutely awesome news. So we've got PT coming up, which is going to be great. But
Yes.
the big news is so world premiere of Partner Miss Vale. So this is very exciting. I think I have some pictures for that too. This is very exciting. Going to Japan, going to be the first time having stuff in Japanese language. It's going to be absolutely wonderful, I think. I met some really wonderful people from Japan, including a cosplayer. Um, and just get this to do the thing. Oops, didn't do it. A very talented cosplayer, and she was just so wonderful to chat to. Um, even with the language barrier, which can be hard sometimes.
Mm,
And the event seems awesome. Like, and the key art. I'm just trying to get it so that we can have a look at this key art. Where
yes, we've got it behind us, haven't we?
behind us, but you can't see everything. There it is. Right, so here we go. Go to there. It's I'm just really so much looking forward to seeing what we get coming out of Japan, because they are very passionate card players
Yeah,
as
and
well.
you know, the art of cosplay comes from Japan originally, right? I think
Yeah,
the oh, well done, cool, we got it up.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so I think this is really great. It's the first expansion that's going to be regionalized into the Japanese language.
yeah.
So the Japanese players, that's huge.
Mm,
I know quite a lot about Japan because it's like the country I most resonate with, and I've been and I speak the language a bit, and I've got friends who are Japanese. You know, the language ability in English is very varied in Japan, even among younger people.
mm,
So I think having a core draftable expansion in the local language will do really good things for Fab in Japan. They are one of the countries that is newer to having the cards available to them. I think it's been about
yeah.
a year, a bit.
Mm, mm.
And the set's great, looking great. Like I think they've confirmed there'll be a new talent. So
Yeah,
we haven't had a new talent since Uprising and Dynasty when that had Draconic.
yeah,
So a new talent would be great. We've got this beautiful art. People have been saying, "Who's that girl? You know, who's that girl?" Um,
yeah,
People, in terms of women with white hair, we've got Shiana, we've got Icelander, but a lot of people really hoping that it's actually Amira Solana, the white-haired, dark-skinned illusionist. And
yeah. That'd be
I'm
amazing.
really hoping it's her.
Yes, so much so. I immediately thought it would be her, and this art, like this character, this I could see the cosplay now.
Yeah. And also,
Because
this gives much more illusionist vibes than it does wizard or
yeah,
shapeshifter vibes.
yeah, definitely
So I think like the sets, it's a mysterious set, right? That's the
yeah,
idea with it. So
Mysteria, definitely.
so we've been talking a bit, I think, on different discords about what's the talent going to be. Everyone loves talking about that. I think
Yeah,
in the cosplay a couple of days ago, I think Alexandra came up with Mist, maybe, as
yeah,
that would be quite cool. So you could
that'd be
have
great.
like Mist Illusionist and Mist Ninja, maybe.
Yeah,
Um, I think if we say set Mysteria, there's potential to add some assassin cards, maybe, because Azuri was originally Mysterian.
and there was the lines, so talking about the tiger and the sneaking and the waxing moon. And so to me that kind of yells, the tiger is kind of, your ninja, and the sneaking and the coming out from, from the depths is kind of like an assassin, and the waxing moon is like it's an illusion kind of thing. To me, that's kind of sings out the character, the talents, as much as I'd like to see a cleric or and I really want to see an adult Benji.
I don't think we'll get one. I was
Oh,
actually talking to. I was at the on RTN yesterday.
yeah.
That I actually managed to top four, so I've qualified for UK Nats. It
Good
was a
work.
draft. It was a draft. It was draft only, and I managed to get third. I lost my top four game. So I was super happy yesterday. But I was talking to someone there about it. So mechanics wise, I think if you gave Benji like 32 or 34 life, his ability might be a bit broken. Like it's manageable in Blitz because you have like what 16 life or something, 17 life.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Benji hasn't quite been there in terms of being a meta strong deck. People play him for fun. I've played him for fun.
Yeah.
It's a really fun play style.
Yeah.
But I was talking to someone that we just thought that if you gave him 34 life or whatever it would be, 32 life, that's too much life for the ability. But they could do a new ability, right? We've got new Prism, so they could do new. But I'd love to see a adult Benji or just a new young Benji with a different ability.
Yeah.
That'd be
Kind
great.
of like what we got with Kasai kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But they redesigned Kasai, they've redesigned a Prism. It seems that like rather than just add a random new character, LSS is like redesigning existing characters sometimes,
Yeah.
which I
And I
think
mean,
is good.
we've already had a repeat of Katsu, so perhaps not Katsu repeat again. I mean, it's only been a
Yeah,
year.
we've had Rhino repeat. I'm just thinking about Rhino wouldn't probably be in this set because of the theme, but like Rhino's been reprinted a few times. There was like the original Rhino versus Dorinthia box set, and then now recently Heavy Hitters. So they
Yeah.
could. It depends what they want to do with the draft side of it, like the limited side. They need to think about the hero pool and
Yeah.
the card pool, and that will probably dictate to some extent what heroes we'll see.
Mm.
I think I'd be very surprised if we don't have at least two new characters.
Yeah. I think that James was talking about like 11 new characters this year. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
how many did we have in heavy hitters that are new? We got Betsy, Olympia, Victor,
So,
Kasai wasn't new. KO's. So we had three or four new ones in heavy hitters.
yeah. It's, yeah. It should be interesting. It depends what he counts as new, though, because if Kasai's a new build,
Yeah.
and so is KO, but yeah. It'd be
Yeah,
interesting to
exactly. Who knows?
see what people are coming out with the new characters, the different cosplays. I mean, because we've got a few more events coming up. We've got Phuket. I'm not sure. So that's uh, we've got Phuket. Just we've got Phuket. We've got PTLA. We've got there is another calling somewhere. I'm missing.
There's
Uh,
something in Kiel. I think there's a battle hardened in Kiel.
yeah, I
Saw
think
that
I just
pop up.
yeah the battle hundreds and there's a few things um going on. I just do I have it in here? Oh, the Tokyo. Yeah, I've just got the. So that must be the only callings coming up. So they're
Which one's that?
calling
The
the
Phuket
ones
one and the Tokyo one.
Phuket, Tokyo, and Pro Tour LA.
Okay. Yeah, because we don't tend to get cosplay contests in battle hardens, do we? It tends to be callings and other big events.
Yeah, calling and above. It seems to be where we get the cosplay competitions.
Yeah.
calling level, it's usually run by the organisers, and then usually at PT and Worlds, LSS pretty much runs the cosplay competitions, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it'd be really great to see what we get out of those two Asian callings.
Mm,
I've really enjoyed seeing people around the world doing different things, and just seeing that we've got a global community.
yeah, I think that's Phuket. I think I've got hold up. It's giving me the wrong. It's very frustrating when it opens it in the wrong kind of format. So this is Phuket. We've got that. Let's find that so we can give people the details of Phuket. Um, so that's Phuket. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so April.
And there's a really interesting thing with this Phuket one. When you buy your calling tickets, you get lunch tickets.
Ah, that could be good or bad depending how bad the food is.
Well, it depends. I mean, on what the food's like. The only events I've ever gone to where you get lunch tickets is playing 500 in Yucca, at the like gentlemen's clubs. Um,
Okay,
so yeah, there's. I think that's it's an interesting thing. But I mean, it's a good thing because a lot of people will just forget to eat. I just don't know how they're going to go about the stopping to eat kind of thing because we
yeah,
running over time can be some sort of an annoyance as well. But yeah, that's the next calling event, I believe, and then we've
okay,
got PT in I think that's in this PT Los Angeles. To
yeah.
that,
That's coming. That's a month away now. Less than a
it's
month.
real close, real close. And I mean, I know that we've got S's going over, but not cosplaying.
Hmm.
Um, I know that Rachel will be there. I'm not sure if it's going to be in a judging or not, because I'm not sure how many things that Carolina will be going to because she's back doing her circus acting, circus performance.
Okay,
She had a year off last year, so I'm not sure if we'll have Carolina, but we'll definitely have Rachel.
cool.
And there's quite a few really good cosplayers in the US side that will be there. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure how many people will get to travel though. It's a bit hard.
yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? And like America's basically a continent in itself. So
Mm, but
just because if you're like on the other side of the country, it can be as hard as me going to Japan. In reality. Um, yeah, I'm really interested to see what we get over the next year.
mm,
It feels like the standard is getting higher and higher all the time.
yeah,
But from more and more people, everyone's really upping their game. But I think that's where some of what you were saying about this imposter syndrome can come in.
yeah,
Um, but I think, yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I'm kind of a bit lost for words, but it's great that the quality is getting higher. As long as people are supportive rather than anti each other. But it
yeah.
feels like people might get, as the detail and the time and the effort gets higher and higher, will people get a bit more fragile around it?
I hope not.
That's why I really like having the cosplay dinners because you can let your hair down, you can
Mm,
go out with people in a different context, you can commiserate and congratulate, and so yeah, I'm definitely going to make a dinner happen every event I go to.
that's awesome. So the other thing we usually talk about is art that you could cosplay.
Oh,
I already kind of want to see this art. Oh, can't see her in that one, but I want to see her done. I want to see this silver-haired illusionist or whatever she is
yeah,
become a reality. That would be wonderful.
yeah, and I'm thinking about like how you could incorporate the lake.
Yeah.
So
And the moon.
like, yeah, the moon. Like, I'm thinking like, like, could you? This is insane what I'm about to say. But
Yeah,
could
yeah.
you have like a waistband of resin that goes around your waist that kind of is translucent and has waves and ripples on it? That's a bit
Yes.
insane. I don't know how you'd
Amazing.
make that work, but I think
That
other
would
things I've been thinking. So I'm working on two cosplays. I don't want to say what they are because I like to keep it a secret, and just in
fair
case
enough.
I don't do it, it gives me it gives you talk about like syndrome and not getting stuff ready or not wanting to do something. I feel like
Yeah.
if I don't tell people or not many people what I'm working on, if I don't do it, it doesn't matter. Whereas
Yeah.
it feels like if you start telling people what you're doing, it builds that expectation, which can be motivating, but can also be like, oh God, I really don't want to do this now. Now I have to.
Mm.
So it kind of work both ways. One thing I was thinking of, so I quite like my gender swaps. So Betsy,
Betsy.
I,
Yep.
so Betsy, I was really glad we didn't get very much body shaming with the Betsy character. There was a little bit
Yeah.
I saw in a couple of places, but generally people were like, "Shut up, don't be an idiot." So I was really happy there wasn't any body shaming. But you're a cosplayer as well. I want to ask you. So I was thinking of cosplaying one of the Betsy's. Don't know which one. And I
Yeah.
want to test you out on something. I was thinking of wearing one of those inflatable sumo suits to make
Yeah.
myself big enough, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea. If that's a bit like, if that would be like derogatory. I wouldn't know if that would be something that would be good or bad thing to do. But I was thinking, like, could I do a sumo suit and then make the costume? But I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a hard one because, like, I had a bit of a conversation with Matt Rogers. They say, "Oh, you're going to get a balloon and do the Betsy." I was like, "Well, actually, I don't feel comfortable doing Betsy."
Yeah.
But
And even if I feel comfortable, I don't want to make someone else feel uncomfortable or
yeah,
upset, or because we've got people of all different types of body shapes in players and cosplayers. Even if it's just someone sees a photo online, I just don't want it to be bad taste and upset somebody.
yeah,
So I think I've thought it a little bit, and I think it's just better not to do it, just in case.
possibly it might be a safer bet. So we've got there's
So
the
in terms of
Betsy.
cosplays that will probably never happen, um, the two cosplays you could do with one arm. So like we got KO on the right, but we've
Yeah,
also had like adult Riptide. I know S has done young Riptide, but adult Riptide, his body's like half decayed. So I've
yeah.
just assumed no one will ever do those two characters because how do you do it?
Yeah, I don't see KO here. That's interesting. Where's KO
Oh, it's
gone?
at the top. Go to the top, and then he's on heavy hitters. You need to go to the
Oh, it's
right.
to the
There we go.
side. There we go.
You could maybe because this is a stump, right? So his arm's a stump. So maybe you could like have your arm on itself like that,
Yeah.
and but that would be so uncomfortable. But yeah, I think like the one arm, anything with one arm is
Is it
just very
British
hard
enough
to
that
do.
you could, yeah, you could kind of do like a suit over the top, kind of maybe of the
Yeah,
arm.
it'd
I
definitely
don't
be an
know.
interesting challenge.
Most definitely a challenge. Yeah, so it's interesting the layout because they're having six. So it's been nice because we had a lot of really cool heroes. Like you could
Yeah,
definitely see the Briar.
I was thinking about characters we haven't seen yet in terms of visible characters. I don't think we've had an emperor.
We haven't had a. We actually haven't had. Oh, we have had a different. Yeah, never mind. I
Yeah. Um, Who
think
else have we? There was someone further up we didn't have yet on your list. If you go up a bit more, we haven't had Betsy, the newer characters, so we haven't had Betsy or Adult Olympia. We've had Benji's. We haven't had Adult Victor. We've had Young Victor. But
we haven't had the.
the really great thing with the way people are doing the cosplays, it doesn't have to be a playable character. Lots
Yeah,
of people have done other cards or characters in cards that maybe we don't even know the name of some of them, right? We only see them in one picture. So
Yeah.
the way that the hobby's going is that if it's a piece of art, you can do it. So people have done all sorts of non-playable character art.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a really rich pool to choose from.
Well, the art's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the other thing also is like don't feel like you can't do something that's already been done. Talk about mind games. I don't know if you. I sometimes feel a bit of pressure to do something that hasn't been done before, rather than do
Mm.
something I want to do that someone else has already done. Do you ever
Mm.
feel that way?
A little bit. I mean, I've done things like Cavdine, and I did Lady Bottomont. No one had done her before.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
the tutor, the brute tutor.
yeah. And thankfully, I had someone help me to finish that. But I just wore it to a calling before we had competitions. Um,
Yeah.
I keep thinking about Shiana, and then going
Mm,
away from her, and then coming back to her, and I
mm.
might make a Shiana one day. But um, I
I think
mean,
your
it's been
sewing
done
skills are
by people.
definitely good enough.
Yeah,
For me, my sewing skills aren't good enough yet, but I think your sewing skills, and because you can make a whole corset, right, with Shiana.
yeah. My corset making consists of getting a corset and covering it. But that's still a skill, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I've done that myself. As far as I understand it, corsets are very hard to make. So no
Yeah,
disrespect there. The
yeah,
character I really want to see that I'm thinking of doing, but I've not got a plan for it yet, is adult Vincent.
yeah. I'm not
Because she's got
Vincent.
that Iron Maiden, but also her arms are really long and spindly.
Yeah, she's got amazing arms.
Yeah. So you got like these really, I think in like the cards that she has, the Rune Blade cards. It
Yeah,
was like the three ones that are like Ruin, Doom, and something other. One of them you see her with her arms up, and you see
yeah,
that her arms are really long and spindly and angular.
yeah.
And I
I
think there's
mean,
lots of really interesting things you could do with that.
yeah. So I think we've come to the end of our conversation somehow.
Cool.
um, Thank you so much for being part of this. It's been really cool to chat with you and talk about the events that happen over in Liverpool. Liverpool. Was it Liverpool? Yes, it was Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool.
Yeah, yeah. um, Closer to your side of the world, because it's good to see and talk to people about the events, because what we see on the internet is not what is there, and it's great to have that experience and share that experience. And it is
Yeah,
very cool that you were a supporter this time, because all the support that we get as cosplayers is just wonderful. Um, and so, yeah, hopefully we can get people to like and share and comment and subscribe and ask us what they want to hear from us as well. We would love to cover things people want to hear about. And yeah, hopefully people get out there creating. Everyone's welcome to cosplay. This is, as you've said, an area where everyone can feel comfortable to give it a go. Um, and it's all right if you think that it's gonna, you can just give it a go. You don't have to enter the competitions. Just
no.
come and cosplay with us.
And we've had people do that. We've had someone do the lady from the shitty Christmas presents. We've had a
Yes,
few other people where they've made a costume but they've not entered for various reasons.
yeah, yeah. It's just cool because it's there to have fun and to bring something that you like of the game to life and bringing that art to life. So thank you
Yeah,
very much, Dan, and
thank you.
I'll let you get on with the rest of your day. And congratulations and good luck for your nationals now that you've
Thank you.
qualified to go and do nationals, and hopefully we'll see more of you in the future and we can chat again. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and thanks for having me on, Lynette. Take care. Have a good week.
See you later. Bye.